Recording. All right. So first thing I'm going over, guys, stop talking. First thing I'm going over is end behavior. So when you have a function and it's some higher power, let's say it's like 11x to the fourth plus 3x to the 10th minus 2x to the negative or 2x to the third. No x squared. So what I'm trying to do this video so I could just post it. Guys, I'm trying to record this so I could just post it for you so you can check it out later. So yes, it's recording. So this highest power decides what it is, even if it's out of order. The highest power decides it, and then the number in front decide what type it is. So the power is even, so it's gonna kind of look like an x squared, and the number in front of it is positive. So our end behavior should look like this. It's gonna be positive, positive, which means as x goes towards infinity, where is y going? It's going up. So that's also positive infinity. As x approaches negative infinity, y approaches also positive infinity. It's also going up. That's to the left. So you want to think of it this as right, we're going up, and then left, we're going up, if you want to think of it that way. The 3 is positive. That's what we care about. So it means it's a positive, it's based off a positive x squared. No, the actual number doesn't matter. If it's a billion or 3, it doesn't matter. So end behavior is decided like that. As a reminder, negative x squared would look like this. X third would look like this. And negative x third would look like this.
Absolute value.
Absolute value?
Yeah, but it was
It's just a V.
yeah.
It's just a v, but I'm not going to ask that.
Can you do the intersection and the multiplicity of this?
Sure, let me do that next, okay? I have to set up a question that I could do that on. Okay, so that's end behavior. Now, some things with the end behavior. Let me see, let's go one problem at a time. Let's see. So to use the end behavior to our advantage, we're gonna have to graph some things. So let's say, I gotta make this up real quick. X cubed plus 6x squared minus 3. No. No. Let's do 4x plus 24 minus 24. Hopefully this makes sense. All right, so we need to find the zeros. You do know synthetic division, so you could technically do that, but you should always check first if you could do something like grouping. So let's see if we could factor by grouping. Well, you group the first one and then factor what's in common, which is x plus 6. You could technically swap it around. Negative 4, x plus 6. Hey, this one happens to be grouping. I made it like that.
Plus 6, x minus 2, then it's x plus 2.
And then I'm going to break this up. X minus 2, and then x plus 6.
So then the x intercepts are negative 2 and negative 6.
Good. So when I have my graph then.
And it's all 1, 1, and 1 for the multiplicity.
Good, and the multiplicity is 1, 1, 1. Remember, if you have an even amount of multiplicity, that would mean it bounced. So hopefully, when I go through it, you'll see. So we also need to look at the end behavior. So we look at the original problem. This is x to the third, and it was positive. So I know it should kind of look like this, which means I'm going to draw my arrows here and draw my arrow here. Now my x-intercepts is negative 2, 2, and 2. So negative 2 would be right here. Positive 2 would be right here. And let's say 6 is right here, okay? Oh, it's negative 6, you're right. So not positive 6, so that's not necessary. 1, 2, 3, 4, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is not a root.
Wait, it bounces off or,
Even it bounces off. Okay.
wait, what about our line intercepting?
Oh, yeah, we need the y-intercept. No, you could plug into 0 into here, or you could plug into 0 into the original problem. If you plug into 0 to the original problem, this will disappear, this will disappear, this will disappear. So your x-intercept is -24. We'll generally just put like a number here. Let's just pretend that's 24, okay? Instead of me making 20. Usually the top is going to be easier.
So
So-
graphing
Well, you
is
will get
on
the
this
same answer.
test,
Graphing will be on the test, yeah.
but
Which
we
is
get
why you
our calculator, right?
you cannot have a graphing calculator.
We can't have our calc.
So we go, you could have a calculator. Go through here, go through 24, go up through here. If there was a world where you had double multiplicity, you will have to bounce. So if you were like here, you would, instead of going through, you would go off. Make it more
What if
round.
you had a double at the end?
That's fine. Then your end behavior was probably like this. And then you would bounce off there.
So I-
It should match your end behavior. If you
what
have
if
to,
you had, a double at the first one.
then you would bounce, it would look like this. And then maybe, we'll have to bounce again to make it work, but
Okay, so that was one of my questions, but like I thought it didn't look right. So I guess it's-
it has to match your end behavior. So if it doesn't match your end behavior, you know something went up.
If it's like a double loop, it's like for the specific one, it's just the end loop and then the rest goes here.
If one of them is a double root, it's a specific 0, yeah.
So on
Because
this,
if-
it just bounces off that specific one.
Yes,
On
exactly.
this,
So let's say you had this, x plus 2 squared. That'd be
the
-2,
would just bounce off.
but this one will bounce on -2, yeah.
On this, can we do, 27 on?
I have a
the-
question.
I don't know, please.
Re-
But can I just do the bubble?
Sure, but let me answer the question here. What's up on Zoom?
Okay, so when you ask us like you give us an example, like we have to graph it, like are we gonna have to like list everything like the x-intercept, y-intercept, multiplicity, and then behavior, or just graph it?
In my question I'm looking at right now, I'm just gonna ask you to graph it, okay? But you
Okay.
need all that information to graph it. But I'm only grading where your points are and if your shape is correct, okay?
Okay.
Do you want to do one more of these you're saying then?
Yeah.
Also, can you give us like the name, like what are the chapters through for this test?
2.1 to 2.5.
Can I give you the volume though that I was stuck on for this?
Read it.
F of T
Yeah,
equals T cubed minus 3T.
t cubed minus 3t. All right, factors out. This is t outside, t squared minus 3, which means you have t plus the square root of 3.
I don't know if you can just read it like that. I was confused.
Well, you just kind of, because you're graphing this, not negative
How do
3.
you graph that?
It's negative root 3. Well, you just need to know what the decimal for square root of 3 is. You can figure, well, it's going to be between, because 1 squared is 1 and 2 squared is 4. It's going to be between 1 point and 2. Should be around 1.7. But you just need to know what's in between, right? Because it's 3 is between 1 and 4. The square root is going to be between 1 and 2.
So are you gonna give us some volume for this?
Probably not, especially since you can't have, or if you might not have a calculator, I would not force you to do something like that. All right. The test will be doable without a calculator. I want to make that clear. All right,
I'll put one anyway.
of
Yeah,
course,
it's like 2 plus 3 1.
that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so this one is going to be a, no, this one is a quadratic, which means I want you to identify the vertex also. That's a 2, and then we'll put a -3, let's say. Yeah, let's do that like that. So when we're graphing a quadratic, we need to turn it into vertex form. Okay, which is, if you want a reminder, a squared plus k. Don't forget the little square. I forget the square sometimes. So first, let's split it up.
When you plug it in. Plus then C goes. And then -3 minus C.
Good.
Okay.
All right, and then we need to find the c, which is -2 over 2, Squared. -1 squared, which is 1. So this is going to be 1. This is going to be a 1. So we got x squared minus 2x plus 1.
Mr. Jabal, is that formula the like b over 2 squared?
Yeah, b over 2.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
just-
yeah, I just want to make sure. Then you're gonna FOIL this, but it always will work perfectly. So x minus 1 squared. And the number will always be, by the way, it's the number that is before its square roots. So you see how this is a -1 and it was a -1 there? They will always match, so you don't even have to think about it. -4. Yep,
And then it's right one down.
excellent. So first I would ask you, what is the vertex? So you would point out it's 1 comma -4.
It is.
Yeah, because this is the H is flipped, remember?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you said 1 right, it makes sense. So you go right 1, down 4. So that's the vertex.
Why is it?
What do you put here?
No question. I don't add the C, I subtract the C because I can't do it to this side. This is why, or f of x if you want to go like that.
No, you can, then you would just subtract it.
Say that again. You flip the H value. So if it was -1, it becomes a +1. Vice versa, if it was +1, you become -1. So we need the x-intercepts.
That's it.
So to find the x-intercept, we're going to set this whole thing equals 0. So 0 equals x minus 1 squared minus 4 plus 4 on both sides. Square root both sides. That's plus or minus 2. Don't forget that. Plus 1 on both sides. Plus or minus 2 plus 1. So we just do it both. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then -2 plus 1 is -1. So your x-intercepts is 3. You could write it as 3 comma 0 and -1 comma 0.
Oh, you have two out.
Yeah. And it's quadratic. So you could have 2, you might have 1 exactly on the top, or you have 0 in total. If it's like above the line. And then y-intercept, you got to set the whole equation to equal 0. But again, it might be easier just to set the top part 0, because if you cross this out, you cross this out, your C value or your y-intercept is 0 comma -3. Yes, but this is a quadratic, so it always will be, it makes sense like that. Yeah. So then it's only to the second power. And in the structure, it'll say turn it into vertex form, so there's no question on it. So 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3 down, and my intercept is 1, -4. Put a dot here, put a dot here. I'll do the colors to make it a little clear. Put a dot here, put a dot here, put a dot on my x-intercepts, and then just connect the U shape. It will always be a U shape, either upside right or upside down, but it should always be a U shape, okay? Okay, that's a quadratic. Describe the transformations real quick. There's one question like that. Oh, wait a second, I shouldn't do that. Let me do something else. So for this one, you describe the transformations. So first, let's do the number in front. The A value tells you vertical stretch or shrink. This is bigger than 1. So it's going to be a vertical stretch of 4. This one is going to tell you right 2.
What happens if it's like 4 minus x?
And this one's going to go up 5. What's up?
4 minus x and then
4 minus x.
sometimes it like is just inaccurate.
Like this?
Yeah.
You want to think of it
Or
like,
2 minus x, whatever.
you want to think of it like this.
Oh, you can just.
But I want to give that because that would have this value, which we call, I don't know if it's a B value. But we never did that. You couldn't because it's cubed or whatever's happening to it. So it makes it really hard. I would not have that.
Because there was some, I think there was like a person on
We don't do any horizontal, that would cause a horizontal stretch or shrink. And since we don't do that, don't worry about that.
We don't have to like draft this. We just have to say.
This one, you would just have to tell me. Okay? No, I will tell you, it's compared to, what is this one to? Like compared to x cubed. So I already mentioned power function. You don't need to point that out. Write the equation of the quadratic function given 2 points. So let's say the vertex is at 3, 2, and then the some random point on the parabola is 5 comma 10.
It would be 10 equals A times 3 minus 5 squared
Excellent.
plus 2.
Good. So you want to identify, I want to say it for the video so someone watches it, they understand. So your vertex is going to be H and K. The vertex gives you the H and K, don't forget that. And then your point, the random point is going to be your X and Y, a specific X and Y in this case. So it becomes 10 equals, we don't know the A value, so we're going to try to find it. 5 minus 3. Doesn't really matter because you end up squaring it, but plus 10. So 10, this is 2 squared, so that's 4A plus 10. Oh, wait a second. 0. Okay, I made a mistake. This question causes A to be 0, which means it doesn't exist. So this is a straight line, basically.
Just say 0 over 4 so we get the 1.
0 over 4.
Yeah.
So
and then
A equals 0.
0 over 4. Why is it 4A?
Wait, did I do something wrong?
How did I get 2?
Oh, I know what I did. This is not 10.
That should be 2, and then you
Yes,
subtract
you're
2 and you get 8, and then
Oh, yeah, 10. Okay.
It's 2. This is 2. Okay, much better. 8 equals 4A. 4A. 2 equals A. So then we just rewrite the equation completely. Y equals 2. X minus 3 squared plus 2. H and K stays the same for the equation. Well, X and Y could change. That's why we leave it as X and Y as a variable. The structures will say, write the equation of the quadratic function. This is the equation. So,
would we have to graph this on the test?
no. Or if it,
That wouldn't be that hard.
it was like the previous problem, more like this. Or no, wait, was it? This is not the quadratic.
That would be easy.
More like this one.
Well, you don't like it when we graph trajectories and stuff.
What's up?
You don't like it when we graph trajectories and strings.
I don't want you to graph stretches and shrinks because I didn't teach you how to graph that correctly. So, yeah.
Question about problem on the homework.
Sure, read it to me. What type is it? What is it about?
Long division, that's like kind of weird.
Perfect. I want a long division problem.
Yes, please.
Good. I was about to do long
On
division.
the
Okay.
outside is 2x squared plus 1,
2x squared plus 1,
and then the 6x cubed
6x cubed
plus 10x squared
plus 10x squared
plus x plus 8.
plus x plus 8. I believe we went over this, but I'm going to go over it again. Yeah. The trick in this one, the trick is this one, it's x squared, right? So I need to make it match to x cubed. So I need a 3x.
Yeah,
And usually you want to like line them up. So it's 3x. So I'm going to need 6x cubed, but this is 3x. So it should actually land here, which means you need a placeholder here, which is 0x squared. Okay. And then you would just do the math from there.
Dr. Ball, when you write it, shouldn't you write it above 10x squared though? Can you just not give us a 1 like this on the test, please?
I don't like the placeholder stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
Same.
okay. I won't put a placeholder one. Let's do one though that doesn't have a placeholder to actually practice.
Oh, mine had.
Oh, subtract. So it's 10x squared minus 2x. Then you can bring down to 8. But same problem or same thing is going to happen.
Plus 8.
You're going to need 2x squared to become 10x squared. So that's a plus 5. So 10x squared plus 8. Oh, no. And then 5 times 1 is 5. And then again, you need a placeholder. So that's a 0. Subtract all the way down. So plus 3, yes. That would be your remainder. So your final answer is 3x plus 5 plus, or I guess, no, plus. No, because then you have to take a negative out of everything. So it just makes it easier to write this. Yeah. So that'll be that one. I want to do one without gaps to practice more something that would be on your test, okay? All right. Freddie, you have the homework in front of you, right? Can you read me one that doesn't have a gap like that? Just so I could practice on? Yeah, like a normal, basically a normal question.
4x plus 5,
Okay.
4x cubed minus 7x squared minus 11x plus 5.
Okay. So this one, you're asking yourself to match the first numbers. So you need x squared. I put it over x squared because you kind of like, it's like a column. Doesn't really matter, but it's just like the most neatest way to do it usually. So,
4x to the third plus 5x to the third.
good. So I'm going to take this x squared and multiply everything here. 4x to the third plus 5x squared. Subtract all of it down. So this is going to disappear, which is going to be negative 12x squared. I'll bring down the negative 11x. Not yet, not in this one. So now the next thing I need to do is make 4x into negative 12x squared. So I need a negative 3x.
So negative 12x squared minus 15x.
Good, because negative 3x times 15 is negative 15x. Again, you're doing a big subtraction. 0. Negative 11 minus negative 15, that's plus, so that's 4x. Plus 5. Perfectly though, it's plus 1. And what's really nice about here is there's no remainder, right?
And if there was, it would just be over.
Over the whatever, yeah. So your final answer is x squared minus 3x plus 1. No remainder, so no need to do that thing over the top. If you do have a remainder, do the thing over the top.
Can you go back to the last one we did? I just want to see the answer.
Sure. This will be the answer down here.
You have the book with you.
There's a book right now if you want to open it. Let me finish going through all the questions on my test because I want to do that. Well, go
Why
ahead.
was it negative 2x?
Negative 2x? Negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2.
No, but like, how do we get the negative? Like, why is it?
Oh, first one I did over here.
Oh,
minus
okay,
3x.
never mind.
What is 2.5?
It's like fundamental theory of algebra with the eyes in synthetic division.
All right, so I was going to do a synthetic division, but this kind of double dips on that, so let's do that. So let's say you had a question. Oh, I gotta make up.
This is not the same.
You know, I'm going to use the same equation to show you how to do a synthetic division. What was my original equation over here? X cubed, because we already know the answer, so I'm going to use this, plus 6x squared minus 4x minus 24. Could you group this? Yes, you could. But let's say if you were doing synthetic division to practice that.
What looks different method?
Now, this I would not give you because there's a lot of factors to this, but your P's and your Q's is decided by your first and last number. 24 is your top number, and then 1 would be your bottom number. So all the possible things could be 24 over 1, 12 over 1, 8 over 1, 6 over 1, 4 over 1, 3 over 1, 2 over 1, and 1 over 1. This is the last thing we learned. So that division, using the factors. Yeah. Very important. It's going to be not that big. It'll be like 2 over 2 or maybe like 3 over 2 at worst. What's up? I'm just going to do this one because I already know the answer. So you would guess and check which ones are which, but you eventually will probably guess something. So it's like based off these numbers, right? So let's plug in a 2 for this one. You set it up like this. I'll do the positive version first, but there was both answers, so I could do negative right after. So when you go down, you add, and when you go up, you multiply. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times negative plus negative 4 is 12. 24, 0. When you get to 0, you're very happy. Now, you could keep synthetic divisioning. Like I could do -2 and keep synthetic divisioning, but you could save yourself time. As soon as you get here and you have x squared plus 8x plus 12, then you could just factor. So you could keep guessing and checking, but there's a lot of work. So once you get to a point where you could factor. You could also narrow down P. What? Oh.
Wait, Mr. Tobal,
Uh-huh.
when we get our answer, how do you want us to write it?
So in the question, it says write the zeros and write the product as a linear function. So you're going to write it both like this. First, let me factor this. This is going to be x plus 6, x plus 2.
And then f of x equals x squared.
And we already pointed out that this 2 over here was an answer, which means that's the same thing as x minus 2 equals 0.
Oh, and then
So I will ask you for the zeros, which is 2, 2, -2, and -6. And then I'll ask you in the multiplication, there is a +2 from the original. X plus 2, X minus 2, and X plus 6. So I'm going to ask you for both. So just write both.
I have a question though.
Yes, Scarlett.
After we go to that line and we're able to factor it out like that,
Yes.
aren't there other possible numbers that can be in it or no?
No, once you can factor it, you're finished. So you know you're at your endpoint.
Because 2 isn't factored there, but like we still have 2. If that
No,
makes sense.
but the fact that the synthetic division works.
Oh,
on-
I got it. Since we already took it out.
Yeah,
it's
we don't
fine.
need to do it again. Yeah.
But wouldn't 4 go in as well? Like if you look at the problem, like from the beginning, like
4
logically.
wouldn't work.
Why?
If it was 4 here, this would be 1. This is 4. This would be 10. This would be 40. Definitely way too big at this point. Because this would be 36.
Oh,
And then this would be 36 times 4, which doesn't come to 0. Emma? No, you don't need to point out the multiplicity. And then what, number 49?
Yeah.
Let me make sure I cover everything before I go back on that, okay? Because that's another factoring one. Oh, imaginary stuff, yeah. Okay. Let me talk about imaginary stuff. Oh, wait, I just want to make sure. If I give you a division problem like this, we're not going to do it, but let's say it's like, not this one, but let's say if I give you a synthetic division problem where I ask you to do synthetic division, remember, the top numbers will be 1, 1, -1 in this case, but the number outside is going to be flipped. So don't forget that it'll be flipped. It has to be, yeah. And it's not x squared, it should be just x. Yeah, it cannot be x squared. So it'll be negative. So you got to remember to flip it in the
Mr.
synthetic.
Twal, I did that on the homework and then I had to redo the whole thing because Aiden told me that it was all wrong.
It should be negative. It should be flipped, whatever it is. When you do synthetic division normally.
Can I just like not have to like, I redid it, but like not completely.
You don't have to redo
so-
the homework now, but just know for the test that it's going to be like that. All right. 3 plus. When I ask you to solve this by using synthetic division, you would flip it. What?
There's so many homes. Because they're not supposed to add up like that. This is my view right here.
All right.
There are a lot like for.
So here, what we're going to do is add imaginary or complex numbers. So first, let's just see. 3 plus 5 is 8. But here, this needs to be the same. This needs to be the same. So can I reduce this 8 into anything? 4 and 2, I can take out the 4. So this is going to read 2 root 2i. And what about 50? What did that break down to? So 5 root 2i. So now I can combine that. Your final answer is 8, -5, right? So 8 minus 3 square root 2i.
I did not know you had to reduce it.
You need to reduce it. Well, if you don't reduce it, you did not simplify as possible. So let's see some basic multiplication. 2i times 3 plus, no, or I'm gonna go over them right now. This one right here,
6i.
you're gonna distribute.
6i minus 8. I don't know.
Well, it's gonna be, I just want to show plus 8i squared, but because it's I squared, aka -1, aka -1, you could rewrite it as 6i minus 8. And to put it in standard form, you want to put the
What are the fractions in this?
plus 6i. What's up?
What are the fractions?
Do we need to do that? Switch it?
I won't take points off, but that's more proper. I just want to point out.
Okay, as long as you don't take points off.
I will not take points off.
It's 2.3, so probably.
Okay. Next one, you have the, what I think you're thinking about the conjugate thing. So let's say 4 plus 2i, and let's do 6 minus, yeah, sure, 4i. No, because you could actually factor out 2 everything. Let's do 5, because then you can't factor everything. Okay, so in this one, we're gonna multiply by the conjugate, which is 6 plus 5i. And whatever you do to the bottom, you need to do to the top. Yes, we're trying to get rid of all the i's on the bottom. So then the bottom is going to be 36 plus 25, because the double, this will be negative 25i squared. So eventually becomes positive. So the bottom ends up being 61. And the top, we're going to have to actually FOIL.
20 plus. Oh, never mind. 20i plus 12i plus 10i squared, which is negative.
So 24, 4 times 6, 4 times 5i is 20i. 2 times 6 is 12i. I don't know why I wrote 8 again. 12i. And then 2i times 5i plus 10i squared, which will eventually become negative 10.
14 plus.
I was right here.
32i.
So 14 plus 32i.
Isn't it 24 minus 10? Oh, the 10, I'm sorry, I was looking at the 12. That is so not satisfying.
Why is that not
Not at
satisfying?
all. It's so big. It's only satisfying
It
when the
happens.
bottom number goes away.
Yeah, but it won't. All right, next one. If I had something like this is more basic. Squared. You could just you could either square it, know how to square it, or you could rewrite it.
I really.
So it's going to be 9 minus 12i
Negative double.
plus 4i squared, but we're going to flip it. So that's going to be negative 4. So it's your final answer is 5 minus 12i. We did the i's, we did factoring for zeros with synthetic division. Let me just check. We did long division.
But that's 2.5.
I did not put that on because I couldn't make a question that makes sense without a calculator.
Backwards. though.
Which one?
You did-
Oh, the backwards thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that. That is going to be a question.
Why is it turning blue?
So this one, if I tell you, hey, please give me a polynomial equation with these zeros. So I'm telling you the zeros. Thank you for putting this on. So this is going to be 4, 2, and then let's do, sure, 7i. This is going to be a big ass number.
X minus 4, x minus 2, x plus 7i, x minus 7i.
Good. So
Why?
so this is 4 means a 0, which means I must have had an x minus 4. The 2 being a 0 must have been I had an x minus 2. The 7i must have been I had an x minus 7i. But i's always come in pairs. It's always plus or minus. So if it's x plus minus 7i, I also need the x plus 7i. And well, now you got a FOIL. You know?
Oh, no, that's so annoying.
Right side though, we combined it. Again, I remember it's,
The eyes always cancel out.
yeah, exactly. The i's turn into real numbers, which is really nice.
So
Plus 49. If you don't know why, it's 49i squared. So it'll become positive 49. This one, we just got the FOIL. X squared minus 4x minus 2x minus 6x plus 8. And then, yeah, we got to keep foiling. We got to make the whole equation.
X to the 4 plus 49x squared minus 6x to the third minus something. Yeah.
6 times 50 would be 300. So this would be 294.
X plus 8x squared plus something. 49 times 8 is 392. Oh, that's really fun problem.
And then we'll just nice and reorganize it. X to the 4th, any x thirds, just this guy, negative 6x cubed.
Plus 8.
48 plus 8.
Yeah, 57 x squared. Minus 294 x plus 3. Yeah. That is like the least satisfying thing. Like I hate when.
And technically you could do it backwards, but
I don't make it that big because I needed my calculator.
again, I just made up numbers, so I just took suggestions. So
Oh, like, hurry up.
thank you, Zev, again, for reminding me.
Without the eyes.
I'm gonna give you one with the I, so make sure you know how to do it with the I.
Without the I, it's just x minus 4. Without the I, it's just x minus 4 times x minus 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't have to worry about the other one. If I told you the 0 was 0, what would you put in?
X 0 x. No, it's just x.
So it would be just X. So if it was like X 2,
That's the
3,
answer though, x.
well, let me just like X minus 2.
Because no matter
X
how
plus
many
3.
elements there are, it's still times x minus X 0, plus and then
Yeah.
I meant x minus
I'll probably
five.
foil this annoying part first and then do the X. X squared minus 5X. Minus 3.
It's just like x. And there's just x.
Plus 6.
It is
And then X cubed minus 5X squared plus 6X. And it makes sense. You could factor back out to here. Yeah. What do you ask?
Can there be no x intercepts and behavior stuff?
Could that possibly happen?
We did one like that.
Technically with imaginaries, but I would not put that on the test.
On page.
I have a question.
Sure, Michaela, I'm happy to open up Zoom. 8?
Yeah.
What about 8?
On page 236.
Read the question.
Mr. Tobal,
Yes, I hear you though. What's up?
sorry.
What's up? What's up?
Oh, are we gonna have more than like one like synthetic division problem?
You're gonna get you're gonna get a long division, a synthetic division, and you're going to get to find the factors of a said division, which you use synthetic division for.
Okay.
You do.
Uh,
It says list all the possible rational zeros.
Read me the question.
H of x equals 3x to the fifth plus 2x to the fourth minus 3x times 2
3x to the 5th,
plus 2x to the fourth
2x to the 4th,
minus 3x times 2. And then,
like this.
yeah, and then you have to graph it and find all rational zeros.
I will not ask you to graph this, but you can find all rational zeros. Or I want to combine that all in one test or question.
How would you find all the rational zeros?
You will have to use synthetic division for this one.
How?
Or you can factor by grouping. Can you factor by grouping? Yeah, you can factor by grouping this one.
How would you use synthetic division?
But you can factor by grouping.
Why?
Yeah, you would do the P over Q. But since you can factor by grouping, you rather just do that in this situation. You identify your zeros, you identify the multiplicity, you identify your n behaviors, and you could graph from there. Guys on Zoom, have a wonderful day. I will open up the
You're
Zoom.
gonna give
for
us
everybody.
Wait, can you finish this problem?
Sure. So this is gonna be 3x plus 2, and then the other one is gonna be a -1, x, 3x
How
plus
did you
2.
get there?
I took out a x to the
He's
fourth.
grouping.
Oh,
3x plus 2,
I
x to
see.
the fourth minus 1. I want to rewrite this as 3x plus 2,
Thank you.
x,
Squared minus 1.
x squared minus
Then you
1,
would do it again.
x squared plus 1. The minus 1 I can break down. X plus 1, x minus 1, and then x squared plus 1. So all your zeros would be -2/3, -1, +1, and this is going to cause an I situation. So this is going to be plus and minus I. Because it's square root of 1.
Why is that plus or minus?
You gotta give us a synthetic problem where it could be I.
No, I would not give a synthetic problem that could be an I because that's too hard to do without a calculator. And it should be doable without a calculator.
So you're not gonna give us a problem like that?
This one, no. No, I won't give a problem
Is
with
there
this.
anything that could be on the test on the video that you made?
Yes, literally right here, it's gonna be everything. I literally just look at the test and it answered every type of